Okay, Carl is on his way and we need a plan yesterday. Brazil buttlift was a disaster and CEO Deichler is out for blood. Well, how about we get another Italian trainer? Don't you dare mention that in front of Carl. Tony Horton has been making jokes about this for months. Well, what if we...
Hey, kids.
Mr. Deichler, we were just discussing who the next big trainer was going to be.
Which one of you suggested we should hire a Brazilian with an ass fetish?
I, for one, sir, think we should hire another Italian like Tony.
Any other suggestions?
Well, what about a weight training workout? You know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm just going to put another bullet in the chamber while you explain.
Well, how about some big muscle-bound gorilla? You know, maybe ex-military.
Go on.
I've heard of this big Jewish fellow, Sagi Kalev, served in the forces in Israel.
A Jew, huh? You think people will like that?
Are you kidding? Kirk, Spock? And you know who else is Jewish?
All right, you sniveling worms, let's do it. Let's make a muscle-focused workout series. Now, get me a big Jew.
2012 was a good year for Beachbody Incorporated. Actually, it was a freaking amazing year. P90X, while filmed in standard definition, was still selling strong, and a freshly released widescreen HD P90X2 was making Tony Horton the top fitness dog. Things were even better. Shaun T had shed his goofy hip-hop abs persona and cut loose with Insanity Asylum a year earlier. There were other smaller programs in the mix, and at last, Beachbody was standing on solid ground, which meant they could take a few risks. Up to this point, it was safe to say most of the workouts coming out of Beachbody were relatively interchangeable. And that was because heavy cardio with moderate weight training was about all you were really going to get. If you desired to pump iron like a freak of nature, your only real option was modifying P90X. And from Beachbody's standpoint, there was a big reason for the limited options. The company was very hesitant to create a program that had limited appeal. So it was with great joy that Carl Deichler made a rather impressive gamble. You see, intense weight training is something that is decidedly one-sided when it comes to the sexes. Not saying the ladies don't do it, but the numbers are decidedly on the side of us tripods. This is really a shame, since weight training would be far more effective for women desiring a leaner build than spending an eternity on the treadmill, but old habits die hard. Now, Beachbody had several options on the table. One, make Tony Horton do it. Tony was a huge draw, and he probably could have pulled it off, but there would have been some potential problems. While Tony is now likely fitter at 60 than most of us will ever be in our pathetic, meaningless lives, he's not what you would consider huge. P90X had lots of solid weight training to be sure, but it's not quite the type of training that gets you massive. Another downside was that once again, the company would be putting more chips on Tony, and you can only go back to the well so many times. After a while, those pterodactyl impressions are going to cause a revolt. The second option was to make Leandro Carvalho do it. Oh wow, can you imagine? No, seriously, the second option was to shoehorn Shaun T into it. The guy was clearly fit as hell, but here again was an issue. He was being branded as the cardio guy. It was well known that if you desired to have your heart explode mid-rep, Shaun T was unquestionably your man. Plus, he was busy cramming out Asylum workouts, so he was out of the picture. That left the only real viable option, to find a muscle-bound greenhorn and recruit him into the fold. And from here, it was a matter of fate. Through a series of events, Carl ran into a huge fellow named Sagi Kalev, and he hit the checklist wonderfully. Former Mr. Israel, educated in nutrition, ex-military, magazine model, well-spoken, had a rags-to-riches story, and was big as a freaking battleship. He also had a unique feature that played very well into the big guy stereotype. He had an accent.
Get ready to fly. We're gonna get your lats so huge that you're gonna see them coming from far away.
Far from being a liability, this was Sagi's ace in the deck, because nothing has been shown to be more true than our cultural adoration for massive slabs of testosterone-laden beef who have accents.
I'm a cybernetic organism.
I must break you.
Thus began the creation of Body Beast, a program designed to build muscle, not cardio, not functional fitness, and not flexibility. Just raw, hard, throbbing muscle.
Oh my God.
When Body Beast was announced, there were two primary responses. First, there was the men. Then, there was the women. So yes, it was inevitable Body Beast was not going to be as popular with some as P90X, at least not yet. But like my Uncle Ivor's bathtub brewery, it took a little time to ferment and become something the masses could all get a little tipsy on. And get tipsy they did. Unlike P90X, which could allow for minimal equipment, Body Beast had one request. Collect a bunch of heavy things, preferably weights, and get a decent bench. Also unlike P90X, the moves remained simple. No fancy pants, impossible push-ups, or inverted dumbbell rows hanging from the ceiling. Just lift the iron and pump. Bear in mind that some equipment recommendations are, in my opinion, freaking ridiculous. The use of a stability ball with heavy weights, for example, is borderline insane. Do not even consider this option. Either get a bench or use the floor. Give that big exploding ball to your mom for her Pilates. It has no place here amongst the tribal elders. And finally, a pull-up bar. And there you have it. Weights, bench, pull-up bar. You're ready to press play and get busy. Sagi himself is fun as hell, and I mean that in a very alpha male kind of way. For anyone who's actually been to a gym and watched a couple of brutes trash talk each other while lifting the mass equivalent of a school bus, there's something refreshingly authentic about the experience.
Oh, is it heavy? I didn't ask you. You don't talk to me. You know what you say? You say, yes, sir. That's right. Pretty boy can't talk anymore right now. Uh-huh.
As for training style, Sagi is pretty much all business with few, if any, jokes. That's absolutely for the best, as I have a feeling the punchlines would be lost in the translation. They would be redundant anyway, because when he asks you to eat what's on the plane, get those huge canyons, or don't forget to breed, who the heck needs additional comedy? All Sagi asks is that you give a 10, man up, and don't mistake this for the Barbie workout like that ass clown over there.
Barbie and pretty boy with the beast. I love it. I love it.
Just look at that fat slob. Just look at those skinny legs. I just about thought I was looking at a baby quail. Must be horrible to be his mother. The schedule is 90 days, and each month things switch up a bit to keep the viewer engaged. In total, there are 17 workouts in this program that vary from about 30 minutes to 50 minutes in length. Workouts are generally 2 body parts at one time, chest and back and biceps, shoulders and triceps. Legs are generally solo. It's very much the kind of thing you'd expect from the goons hogging all the heavy things at the gym. And for each workout, you perform sets in a variety of ways. Strip sets, progressive sets, supersets, giant sets, drop sets. Whether they make much of a difference, who knows, but far be it for me to argue with a guy that could pick his teeth with my bones. The moves themselves are as simple as they come. A bicep curl is a bicep curl. No doing things on one leg. It's marvelous old-school weight training. Now, because of this, there are a few things to keep in mind. If you want functional fitness and increased flexibility, well, you're probably going to come up short. Like I said, this is for getting big. Another aspect of Body Beast is eating. I wouldn't worry too much about calorie counting, as depending on your intensity, getting enough may be an issue. And it is here where results are going to vary. A lot. Now, that having been said, if you work out hard, invest in some quality supplements, and eat right, then make no mistake, you will get bigger. Just remember, Sagi got that huge using professional equipment, spotters, and a ruthless regimen that most of us would crack under. But then again, that's the magic of Body Beast anyway, isn't it? Being able to work out with massive dudes with muscle mass outside the normal reach of mere mortals. Just don't fall into the false belief that looking like Sagi is going to take place if you do Body Beast, because in all likelihood, you won't even come close. It's like the Charles Atlas ads from bygone comic books that told us handing over our hard-earned cash to Mr. Atlas would result in our glorious revenge on the beach bully. Once we punched our old adversary in the face and knocked him out cold in front of 100 witnesses, the girls would line up to be chosen as recipients of our superior genetic material once we got out of prison for aggravated assault. It was a fairy tale every boy dreamed of. And like Charles Atlas, Sagi Kalev steps forward and offers his gift of becoming beastie. Only now, we don't need to risk attempted murder against the beach bully and dissolve the evidence in a bathtub of acid. No, now we can choose to bask in the warm sun of not being a beta male, unable and unworthy. From the ashes of our skinny, anemic bodies, we can blossom like Steve Rogers. Work out hard enough? Well, screw it. You can wield the hammer of Thor. Just hit play and beast up.
Oh, is it heavy?
Just thank God you don't look like this butterball.